Hi guys, Saki with a Command & Conquer regular video. In this game I'm playing a free-for-all match on the map Arena Valley Extreme. I'm starting in the bottom left position, playing as the Soviets. First of all, my normal microphone broke today. I switched it on and it just wasn't working. So this is a different mic that I've got. So if I sound a little bit different, that's the reason for that. Anyway, first of all, I'm just getting some infantry out. It's a free-for-all match, we're all in random positions. There's 4 players, so what I'm assuming is that each player is going to be in each corner, but that's not always the case. And if you're starting in this bottom left position, what you always need to be wary of is there a player starting just to the right in the bottom middle, because they can be pretty close. Anyway, first of all, I'm just spreading some infantry out. Either side, I'm going to be wanting to send one man up to the top and getting these 3 infantry spread out as well. And we can see that there's no one in that bottom middle position, so we're okay there. And just getting some infantry just to get some map visibility. This early scouting is just really important, just so you can see whatever attacks are coming, because in 3-4 matches you don't know. You could be getting attacked from the top, you could be getting attacked from the side, so where I am though is a pretty decent position because I'm in like a little corner with a lake next to me. There's only like sort of 2 entry points into my base, which makes it a little bit easier, and getting that service depot out really early and making sure I'm going to get some MCVs. What I'm going to also do is I'm going to send these ore trucks to collect the gems, just so that I have enough economy, because when you get extra MCVs, that's going to increase your building speed, but because it increases building speed, it also means your resources are going to run out faster. And we can see some cyan infantry there in the bottom right position. And now getting my second war factory out, which is going to give me twice the building speed of these MCVs, and I'm going to be getting it out shortly. And what I'm going to be doing now is just doing a little bit of a base crawl to the right, just so I can get on the extra ore patch, which has a few gems to the side, which we can see there. So just doing that bit of a base crawl. I'll just need 1 more power plant, and then I'll be pretty much on top of those gems. And there's my second MCV. So taking my MCV up to the top, and what I'm going to be wanting to do is get in this position here, because you can see there's plenty of like ore patches. There's one above that base, and there's one below. Of course, as you get further towards the middle, it does mean you're more likely to get attacked by other opponents, but with only having 4 people in this match, it's not like too bad. You think one's going to be in each corner, so the person in the bottom right is probably going to be more focused on the person in the top right, first of all. And now we're going to have to take that MCV back, because we can see some yellow tanks coming now, and they're out quite early and going to be losing that MCV, unfortunately, I think. So we're taking these MCVs back, and I'm going to be trying to take any tanks I've got up forwards, getting my 3rd war factory out now, and those heavy tanks coming down. And if they try and attack my MCV, at least I'll be able to take them out. And what I'm doing now is getting a large power plant, and we're going to be able to get that Tesla out. And we can see those tanks going further south, and we'll have to see what they decide to go for. It looks like they're going to go for that construction yard. So what I'm going to do is try and get this one deployed up here. And unfortunately, I lost it a bit too quick there. I've still got another construction yard at least, and I've got the ability to build more MCVs, and I do have 3 war factories, so I shouldn't be losing those. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to cancel those tanks and just focus on building construction yards. And you can see that yellow is now going for the power plants, but I've got plenty of power at the moment, and I'm going to get a radar dome so I can see exactly what is going on. We'll have to see, is yellow going to start bringing more tanks down south? And now getting another construction yard out and getting the radar dome down now. So I've got 1 construction yard inside my base. I've got 1 outside the base, and I can see some things coming on the radar. It looks like yellow is going to be bringing more units, and we'll have to see what they decide to do now. Are they going to go for the construction yard dive again? The thing is though, if they do go for the construction yards, I've got like another one out as well. So it's like I've got plenty of construction yards, and each time they go for one, I get more I'll have a better tank advantage. But it seems like they're starting to fight it a little bit now, and my tank numbers are starting to drop, and I could be in a little bit of trouble. I might have to pull back to my base, and now they are going for the construction yard, although they are going to lose some tanks, and our tank numbers are now about even. And I've got another Tesla there now to help defend those 2 ore refineries. And I've got the 2 MCVs inside my base, so I'm going to be okay there. And I'm going to be building another couple of MCVs and just deploy that one there. And now I'm going to be going back to this patch now and just defending those two ore refineries, because it's quite important that we keep those two alive and keep that base in the top there, because it does give us plenty of space, like plenty of resources. I'm going to build a war factory there so I can start building tanks from that position as well, and just going to be getting some more ore refineries. So I've got another construction MCV here, so I can deploy that there, and I'll be getting some MCVs further up. But now we can see the heavy tanks coming in once again, and they're going to be in that Tesla range. I've also got another ore refinery down as well, and those tanks are now we're gonna have sort of like a tank v tank battle. But I do have to be careful here because those tank numbers are sort of like quite even. But we've got another Tesla coil behind, and the Tesla firing on those tanks there, and you can see the Tesla just do some great damage. So helping us win this fight, even though that yellow has the slightly better tank numbers, but because we've got the base defences at the same time, that's just helping us out greatly here, and we're getting rid of some of those tanks and infantry. And we'll have to see, is he going to keep on filtering tanks too? It looks like he's doing that for the time being, but now he realises he's in a bit of trouble and he's going to have to pull back. I'm just going to need to keep on expanding that base up at the top of my base and make sure I have plenty of power as well. And now we can see that Cyan is trying to set up in the middle, and this could be very, very dangerous. And it also depends actually what Cyan is, because depending on what he's got, it could be like he could build ships and boats in that lake. So we do have to be careful. He's playing as a Soviet, so he can only build submarines, so that's okay. And now we're going to go in for the attack, taking on some of those ore trucks first. And we can see he's got a flame tower there, but I'm not too worried about those because they don't do great damage against tanks. If you have loads of them, they can do like some reasonable damage, but not just two of them. And it looks like Cyan's base is going to be wiped out pretty quickly. We can't see any tanks coming to defend yet, and he may be in battles with other players elsewhere on the map. And Cyan's base being completely wiped out, and now we're going to pull back to our own base. Again, another large power plant there, and starting to build more Tesla. We can see some Cyan tanks there, but they don't look like they want to engage at the moment. This is the point in the game where I realise that Aftermath Units is in fact switched on. I didn't know all this time. I was playing the game as if Aftermath Units was switched off. This makes a very large difference. And the thing is if you have Aftermath Units switched on, when you build war factories, you build a second war factory, and it halves the time it takes you to build heavy tanks. So instead of taking 24 seconds, it takes 12 seconds. The thing is, with Aftermath Units switched on, after you build that second war factory, you don't get any more speed building bonuses. It's the same with construction yards and building structures. Get 2 construction yards and you build structures twice as fast. Build any more construction yards with Aftermath Units switched on, no bonus. So when I was building another MCV, my third MCV, to get a third construction yard, and when I was building a third war factory to get a faster tank building speed, it was actually all for nothing. And what I should have been doing at those times was just building more tanks and building base defences, which was why I was having a hard time at the start, and I was wondering why I wasn't able to build a big tank army. And it was because, of course, with the Aftermath Units switched off, things weren't going well. And now we can see that Pink is coming in with a chrono attack. Just losing a bit of things there, and what I'm going to need to do is just build some tank units from that war factory. I've actually got 4 war factories. Of course, only 2 of them make any difference to tank building speed, and now we can see that yellow is coming in with the MiGs as well. So I'm going to need to be careful here. We've got chrono tanks and MiGs happening at the same time, and yeah, I'm going to need to just make sure I have plenty of like construction yards, just get them out, because those MiGs could wipe them out pretty quickly. I'm also going to need to get some air defences up, and the thing is I don't have a fast building speed, and some MiGs coming down once again. And yeah, I should have actually just undeployed that, actually thinking about it, but There you go, but I've got another one out now, and we'll just keep on building MCVs for the time being. And what I'm trying to do now is just going to build the barracks, because what I'm going to build is, instead of building those Tesla troops, I'm going to start building Rocketeers and just start to get them out here. So if he sends more MiGs down, they are going to get attacked by those rocket troopers, and they're going to cause an awful lot of damage. And the thing is, MiGs, they're expensive units, so if he keeps on sending MiGs across, then that's going to cause him a lot of resource damage, and just messing up a little bit there with the airfield placement. I'm trying to make it a little bit more artistic now, sort of like do them a bit staggered, but the MiGs coming down again, and this time attacking an ore refinery. The thing is, I've got plenty of ore refineries in that position, and I'm going to be getting some MiGs of my own to do some attacks on yellow. And those MiG units building up, but those ore refineries are getting taken out, and I probably need to actually build some air defences there maybe, and or possibly build another ore refinery. So I'm going to be getting some Rocketeers out of this barracks now, and just sending them a bit across. Hopefully I'll get there in time, but as soon as you get quite a few Rocketeers out, it's going to make it a very hard time for the other player. I'm just getting a couple more of those airfields, because when you get like 6 airfields, that's enough to take out a construction yard, but you need a few more if you want to take things like war factories out and ore refineries. I think it's at least 7, so I'm just going to build 8 just in case, and I'm going to start building another ore refinery, because those Rocketeers are coming out, but I've only got a couple at the moment, so I might actually lose that ore refinery there. But I've got another one which is on the way, and that construction yard not taking as much damage as I hoped. And yeah, unfortunately those Rocketeers weren't enough, but I do have some more there now, and hopefully that will be enough to deter him, and you can see him undeploying his construction yard there and fixing it up. But I do have a lot of Rocketeers, and at this point I just thought I'm just going to go all in. So bringing everything forward now, and just going for an attack on these tanks. I will just see who has the most units and who has the better micro. What I don't see from the other team is any Tesla troopers there, so that could give me a bit of an advantage. And let's see how this goes. Those yellow tanks coming in now, but as soon as those Tesla get on the front line, they are going to do some great damage. And he's getting his own Tesla coils up there. I'm just building some more ore refineries as I can, and we're just going to go and start pressing forwards now. And those heavy tanks keep on coming in. We've got Tesla in the background there, but we're going to be able to take that out and just bring in all the units I can there. And he's just going to try and keep on building Tesla, and we're just going to keep on pushing forwards. You can see a couple of Tesla there. What we'll do is we'll try and get the Tesla out first, because they do a lot of damage. But these Tesla troopers coming in now and taking out some of those tank units, and you can just see how easily those tank units fall as soon as they get in range of those Tesla troopers. So yeah, they're called shock troopers actually, but they do fire Tesla, and yeah, a lot of things going down there. Now he's trying to bring some infantry out, and the infantry do a bit better damage against those shock troopers, and we're taking out that ore refinery. And fortunately, actually, we've captured that ore refinery and just try and destroy all the units around it. And now we've got that flame tower there as well, and yeah, another tank there. And what I'm going to do, because I've got that ore refinery there, is I'm just going to put a Tesla coil down there, and that's going to cause some havoc in his base. So that Tesla coil going to be able to damage some of those infantry as soon as they come out of the barracks. And just building some units, I'm going to try and build more Tesla coils and keep this attack going. You can see us clearing this base here, and what I'm trying to do at the moment is just clear all these buildings at the south. And the reason for that is because he's got like the ore patches down at the south. The ore patches at his base will probably be running out a little bit. So what I want to do is I want to keep the pressure on at this bottom spot, and that's going to make it really hard for him to get any ore. And now we're just taking out those heavy tanks again and just doing as much damage as we can. And we've got the Tesla in the background doing a lot of damage as well, and it's looking like it's going well for us. The thing is, he's gone for flame towers now, and it's because of those Tesla troops. Obviously those flame towers do absolutely splendid damage against infantry. We have got some Rocketeers out though, which is helping us a little bit with long range attacks, especially on those flame towers, which don't really like Rocketeers that much because they've got a better range. And now I've got a flame tower out of myself just to help me against those infantry. And we're just pushing forwards now. Those MiGs coming in. And the thing is, every time he goes to select his MiGs or tries to like attack with his MiGs, it makes it easier for me because he's going to have less micro with his tanks, and it's going to help us in our battle on the land. So we'll see what we can do. Now we're just going to try and take out this barracks because it's really annoying getting all those infantry out all of the time. And another flame tower comes out once again. And that flame tower going down now. And yeah, I should have probably taken out the barracks here actually, but fighting the tanks, and those tank numbers are getting well down. Those Tesla Crows doing some damage in the background as well. And he's doing quite a good job of holding here. He's obviously using his MiGs in just to try and destroy some of those Tesla coils. But as soon as he builds them, I've just got another Tesla coil already on the way. And we're just going to start placing that down. And now that barracks goes down once again. And we get the Tesla coil a little bit further forwards. And just fighting those tanks, trying to whittle down those numbers. It's just like a war of attrition here. And because we're playing with aftermath units switched on, it means that the building speed is going to be limited. And you can see his tanks are just a bit stationary as he uses his MiGs. So that just gives me the upper hand in terms of micro. And now that Tesla coil firing on some of those infantry. And we're getting down yet another barracks. And what we're trying to do is just strengthen this position more and more. And we're just doing a slow base crawl towards his base. So that power plant going down. And now we're going to be able to attack one of his construction yards. This is going very well for us at the moment. And those tanks coming in right now. But they're getting in range of the Tesla. And they're getting hit down. And it looks like we're going to be able to just keep on pushing forwards here. It's going very well. Now he's asking in chat if I'm Zach. Now I'm playing as under the name Join for Free For All, but I've played like loads of games like that, so a lot of people know it's me. It's not like I'm trying to play a troll game or try and hide my identity. I just do Join for Free For All when I want to play free for all matches, because otherwise people just want to play teams quite often. At least if they see Join for Free For All, then they know if they join, they're going to play a free for all match. I know it's quite stupid as well because I actually hosted this game, and I'd actually been doing some troll games under a different name on this account, and I'd put aftermath units on. So yeah, I just forgot that, and when I started the game I thought I had aftermath units off, but yeah, made a bit of a mistake there. But now we're starting to be able to push in, and yellow is getting pushed further and further back. And now you can see we're really getting into the middle of his base. He's got some war factories there, which he's having to sell. And now we're getting towards his airfields, where we're going to be able to do some good damage to those MiGs and stop them attacking. I'm just selling my airfields because I'm not using them anymore, and just focusing on building my own base and getting some more Tesla and base defences down. You can see those Tesla now firing on my units, and what I'm going to need to do here is I'm going to need to pull back and just regroup and build up my units. But you can see now his main base, no ore nearby. His ore truck's trying to go to find some, but as they go to try and find some, they're going into my Tesla, and my Tesla's going to be able to make short work of them. I can also see some pink units to the right side of the map. So I'm going to have the annoyance of those MiGs for a little bit longer, but I am going to regroup in the time being, and once I get my infantry and tanks grouped together, I am going to have the better army, and I'm going to be able to push right in. We've also got 4 Tesla in our main base down there, so if we do get an attack from Cyan or Pink, at least we've got something to defend, but they could have a lot of units at this stage, and those MiGs going down, and we see another of one of those chrono tanks inside my base. So I'm just going to move that construction yard up and just get rid of that chrono tank before it can do any further damage. So Pink going for that allied unit, which is quite effective. It can be in these situations. And just starting to build some ore refineries up here, just to start building my economy in different parts. And you can see those MiGs coming once again. But now we can see that Cyan is getting a bit of an expansion right near my starting base. And now these infantry come in from yellow, and we're able to squash them quite easily. And now we're going to be able to go for those MiG airfields. We have enough units to do so. And we're going to do some brilliant damage and get rid of them so they can't do any further damage to our base. And now being able to push in, and those infantry going down. So yeah, there's nothing that yellow can do in this situation. You can see he's quite low on power, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to go for those power plants very quickly, so that his Tesla aren't going to be able to fire. And with those power plants down, those Tesla are no longer a threat, and we're going to be able to take out the last of those buildings. And that is yellow out of the game. The big question is cyan and pink, what position are they in? Have they been fighting each other? I don't know. They might have. And now I can go back to my base. I think I've lost a construction yard there, but I'm not too worried because now I can focus back on my base in the bottom of the map. I'm going to be building some more oil refineries. I can build some more construction yards just in case I get attacked again, and I can make sure my construction yards have a bit better defense from now on. So getting all my units back here, I'm going to be getting some Tesla coils down to put in my base just to defend off those chrono tanks. We can see also a construction yard further up the map. So I'm going to put that one sort of inside those Tesla there, just so it's got some defense should a chrono tank appear. And now we're going to go for cyan because we don't want him mining up our ore patch. We've also got a Tesla coil placed down there, so that can do some damage if cyan decides to go on the attack. So we're going to see, does cyan have a big army? We're going to find out, I think, pretty shortly. And we can see those tanks there. We're just going to try and destroy them, those tanks coming out of that war factory, and they're no match. There's no micro there, and that war factory goes down, and a few more tanks coming in there. But we've got decent tank numbers here. We're going to be able to take out those, no problem. The question is what does he have inside his base? Does he have any? Because he could have been fighting pink the whole of this time, and more MiGs coming into our base. It seems all players want to build MiGs this game. At least the pink in the top right-hand corner is playing as the allies. Although we could see some helicopters coming in, who knows. And now we're going to go for the attack on cyan's base. Let's see what his defences are like. Are there going to be Tesla? Are there going to be more tanks? We're going to soon find out. And a V2 rocket there, that's going to be no problem at all because they have very low HP. They're not very good defensive units. And now we can see there the Rocketeers, the heavy tanks, but there's not enough of them, and they're going down pretty quickly, although the infantry can be a bit of a nuisance because they can do quite a bit of damage, but thankfully our tanks are able to squash them, and now we're going to be able to take out some of those war factories. And you can see there 3 war factories. He didn't need that many. Maybe, I don't know if other players thought we were playing with aftermath units switched off, and I was undeploying that construction yard. I thought those MiGs were going to go for that, but they were going for another building instead. And now we're going to be able to go right into cyan's base, and his MiGs are going to be further back there, so we're going to be able to get there shortly. But now we can see cyan coming into the base with tanks, and here I'm going to want to pull back because we do have another player in this. I don't want to lose my whole base and have a base race in case pink are able to pick up the win. So now I'm going to take all my tanks back and try and defend this attack from cyan. We're going to have to see how much damage he's able to do. He's now going for the power plants, and that's quite a good thing at the moment because I do have plenty of power, thankfully, and that Tesla coil doing some damage to those tanks, and those tank numbers are starting to drop quickly. He's just destroying more and more power plants, but it's not working, and now he's lost all of those tanks. And I do actually get low on power now after placing that Tesla coil, but all of his tanks are down, and I'm just able to build another large power plant, and those MiGs coming in, and they go for a power plant once again. And those are quite cheap, cheap structures to replace. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go for those tank units at the top, and we can see some Tanyas coming in. I think that's from pink on the left side, going to the left side of the map. So I'm going to need to make sure my base is quite well, got good defense, but I do have a lot of Tesla placed on different locations throughout my base, so it's going to be quite hard for them to find an opening, but I'm going to need to place a few more Tesla down just for good measure. I do wonder if pink's got any medium or light tanks inside the base, or whether they're going to go out for an all-out attack at any point. But now the tests they're coming, and it looks like some of those oil refineries are probably a little less defended. But as soon as they get in range of that Tesla, they're just getting taken out pretty easy. And I've just got another Tesla coil coming up. And now cyan has left the game, and now it's only pink left. So we're going to go straight to pink's base, and we're going to find out what do they have left. Do they have much left? I've also got a base quite close to the, in the top of the map now, so I could do sort of a slow crawl towards them. But now we're going to have a look here, taking all our tanks up and out, all our infantry, all our units, and we'll see. We can see some of their units there, their ore trucks collecting from that ore patch, so that'll be a good place to go. But now the light tanks coming in, we'll have to see how numerous there are. They're trying to take quite a lot down to my base maybe, but they're trying to take them through my units. I've got Tesla troops in there, shock troopers, and they just do great damage to units that try and run past. And those tanks being taken out, Pink's losing an awful lot here. Those infantry being taken out at the same time, and those tanks aren't going to last too long. And those ore trucks are going to be next, because I now have got Tesla coil on that ore patch. But he's starting to bring more tanks in. He's going for the attack on my base, but my units are nearby, and I'm going to be able to get them in shortly. And Pink should have really attacked like this when I was getting attacked by Cyan, because then he would have been able to do a lot more damage, and I wouldn't have been able to focus on two opponents at once. But now he's trying to push into my base, but I've just got so many defences there, and my tanks are coming in, and we can see that Pink is losing units very, very quickly, and those units being taken out. And now I'm going to go to the top right position. So yeah, just building more power plants there, just make sure I'm still okay on power. But I think he's lost all of his ore around his base, and those ore trucks are going to be quite easy to take out. Yeah, we can see those ore patches depleted close to his base, and those ore trucks are long distance mining. And what Pink should have done is he should have stretched his base down so he's nearer those ore patches, but it looks like he's condensed in the top right of the map. And we can see some turrets and base defences there, but there's only one way this game is going to go. When you got this number of tanks, even those number of turrets, they're not going to be any match, and taking out those base defences quite quickly. He's got some light tanks in there, mixed in there, but not enough. And he's also got some infantry there. But all the time, what we're doing is we're just streaming more and more units in, and there's only going to be a limited amount of funds that Pink is going to have, because he's sort of like trapped in his base, and he's trying to take out some tanks, but those tanks being taken out pretty quickly, and now we're going to be able to take out some of those infantry at the same time, and the turret numbers are starting to fall. And fair play to him, he has got my tank numbers down quite a bit, but those tanks running into those shock troopers, and those shock troopers taking out those tanks very, very quickly. And you can just see how effective they are. If you have shock troopers against tanks, they are just so effective, as I've said, this game, and it just highlights that. And they're also decent against infantry, but infantry can do a little bit more damage, because shock troopers can only fire Tesla on one infantry person at a time, so that's why they're sometimes a little bit less effective. And some of those ore trucks being taken out again. But yeah, we're just streaming units in constantly, and those Pink units are just failing to do any much damage. And you can see now Pink is losing all the buildings. So quite well, an interesting game, because at the start I was playing by the wrong strategy. I was building lots of construction yards and lots of war factories, and wondering why my army wasn't building, and I wasn't able to build structures very quickly. So made it a bit hard work for myself. When I finally realised what was going on, I did build some MiGs, but then I got a bit fed up and decided just to go for the all-out attack, all in, and we were able to slowly advance and expand up the map. And then we went to attack Pink and Cyan. I think Cyan and Pink should have worked together, or they could have worked together and attacked me at the same time when I was fighting Yellow, and that would have put me in a real bad position. Like, if they'd attacked me when I was fighting Yellow, I don't think I would have been able to survive that game. And we can see that Pink's tried to sneak an MCV into the top left of the map, and we can see exactly where it is, because there's a gap generator there, and it's covered in shroud, but I've already been to that section, so I know that Pink must be there. And indeed, we can see his last buildings. And now it is going to be finally over. Yeah, he's got a, I'm surprised he hasn't actually built an ore refinery yet, but that's Pink out of the game. Thank you for watching. Hope you enjoyed the video.